I mean, I didn't go to my first therapy session till I was 34 years old, right? Growing up in a black community, a Christian household, there was no talk of.
You don't get ain't nothing wrong with you, boy. You better go to Jesus.
Foot on his neck, I'm coming in high, I'm coming in quick, got what I got, I'm so content. He calling me big, running up chicks, running up, loving that flex, been on that marathon nail. I run at my pace, they loving the spread. Foot on his neck.
One of the things you said was, like for us that are service providers, whether it's as a day job or entrepreneurs in the marketplace, is the people that we're aiming to serve. You can't just create the solution. Is you got to ask them what is it that they need. I think that's very profound. I find myself. I think one of my strengths as an entrepreneur is to create systems and processes that align with whatever organization. And I think that's I'm a naturally gifted person in that area. Just because like empathy is my number one strength, but also creativity is like I'm drawn to create things, right? I'm curious for you, when you think about like your spiritual gifts and things that you may be highly skilled in from your experience, what is that? Like contextualize, like, you know, things that you feel you bring to the market or the professional, just the world of work in terms of your skills and value.
Yeah, skills and value. I am definitely best practice research driven, and then really skilled at taking those best practices and making it fit the needs of that individual. So what are other people doing, and how do we take these results or these strategies and chip around the edges, chisel off some things, make sure that can work. But I think from a spiritual standpoint, harmony is really where I go to. It's not in my top 5 no more. I know. I still think it should be number 1. But
he's been traumatized in this world of work. So harmony is not right, at least in this season right now.
I think oftentimes you get into organizations, and I mean there's egos at play, there's titles at play. I've been able to, in both careers, come into situations and for lack of a better word, be able to play in the sandbox with everybody, right? So whether that's nonprofits, that's for-profits, that's school organizations, community organizations, city leaderships who may not agree, being that sort of bridge and conduit that speak. I could speak the streets, I could speak the boardroom, and people feel comfortable enough and put them into spaces where, all right, well, he's going to represent all of our interests to the best of his ability. So that's been a skill I've been tapping into, sometimes forced into. But this is about collective impact. I mean, none of us can do it by ourselves. And if you become, people might not say it for themselves, but if you're able to translate that across the room and across the board, then you can move the needle beyond measure.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. I think I really enjoy, like, language is a change agent. And one of the pieces that you and I synergize on is strengths. I really love, I call it the career trinity, where you have values, interests, and skills. And so I say language is super important because sometimes you don't know how to fix where you're stuck at or figure out what's point A to point B or point A to point C without like language and framework and tools. So I really appreciate you sharing skills. I want to zoom out a little bit and pivot, because we talk about work, but one of the takeaways from I think this conference is wellness and mental health. And I personally believe like hobbies, having fun is important to not just humanize us, but also to be kind to ourselves, man. So you know me, I don't know how much you know I actually like that I create music, but I'm actually like a hip hop head. I'm not saying that I'm the best artist in the world, but I do feel like I really enjoy like writing and recording. I'm curious, like what's some of your hobbies, interests, even the ones that you might not be able to do a lot? Like what's your nerd zone, your zen zone?
Yeah. So I say when I retire, if I ever retire, given, I'm a probably go back to culinary school.
Okay.
I love cooking. I love eating. So I love cooking, but cooking is definitely the free space where I could test stuff out. I could make mistakes. My wife likes eating too, so she really enjoys that. I'm a big sports junkie, so I love all except NASCAR. I don't understand the laps. So NASCAR is still NASCAR is still trying to get that.
Shout out to anybody that loves
NASCAR. Yeah, no. But I love sports. I mean, across all hockey, golf, basketball, football. So any opportunity, college, high school, elementary, any opportunity I could get to just watch sports, that's super relaxing for me. And then just writing. So I got like tons of notepads. We joke all the time of I gotta learn how to do some of this digital stuff. But man, pen and paper is for me like just a lot of content, just writing down thoughts. The book was birthed last year in August of me just writing it down when the thought came to me, just writing it down. So that's definitely a happy space for me too.
That's dope, man. So a lot of areas of interest. So culinary, I actually haven't been blessed by your culinary gifts. So I'm very curious of what that looks like.
It's gonna be no meat though. So
it's a way that you can sprinkle some saturated trans fat into non-meat products. So I'm counting on you to make sure I keep my figure. But no, definitely sports made you synergize. Tell me a little bit. So like we talk about hobbies. I see you as a thought leader, right? And my personal mission is to help people align and maximize their calling with their purpose, right? So part of that is like make sure Lerone cracks his shell and he shares himself as a thought leader, and as I do the same, right? So we talk about hobbies here, and I personally think it's connected to our wellness. What's your thoughts here, man? Like me and you we serve people in organizations like adults, and we serve youth. Like what is the importance of like wellness overall? And just provide your thoughts and coaching when it comes to like wellness, mental health, and maybe like we're intersecting this with maybe hobbies and passion areas. Like just speak some knowledge into that area right there for us.
So I'll go to the first A on sort of Joseph leadership solutions philosophy, just authenticity, right? I think when you understand who you are able to serve people a lot better. But a part of understanding who you are is knowing when you're full, when you're empty, when you need to be recharged, what spaces will push you beyond your control, what's your ethics, what are your values. So for me, from a coaching strategy or supervision strategy, leadership strategy, I spend a lot of time trying to help people understand who they are holistically. And I know that sounds cliche, but to the simple things, one of the first things I ask folks is like, tell me what are your 5 pet peeves, right? And they're like 5 pet peeves, and because I need to understand if you know what's going to take you over the edge, or things that automatically turn you off about a situation or environment or space that you occupy. So I start with authenticity. I think mental health is important. You and I both know. I mean, I didn't go to my first therapy session till I was 34 years old, right? Growing up in a Black community, a Christian household, there was no talk of
you don't get ain't nothing wrong with you, boy. You better go to Jesus.
Right. You're not going to nobody to tell nobody our business.
That's
so
right.
Kind of reversing that thought is harder than you think. So it's okay to find somebody to talk to. I want to emphasize that. And it's okay to actually take care of yourself. Like I come from a generation of you work. Like PTO, I can't remember my mom taking PTO, right? Like my mom PTO was 2 hours to drop a birthday cake off at school. But using that PTO and taking care of yourself and having hobbies and opportunities where you could rest and truly rest. Right? Like put away the work phone, turn off the emails. That's not always talked about in our generation, and specifically with the identities that we wear as Black men in whatever field you are in. So I mental health, wellness, and that looks different for everybody. So there's no cookie cutter way to do it. It's whatever recharges you. So I think about it. I think about it like a car. If you don't put gas in your car, or if you're electric, if you don't charge it,
that's right.
You're not going nowhere. You can still have the car, but ultimately you are not moving. So you got to take care of that, and your brain is that gas that makes you move.
That's so good. So you talked about the first I guess milestone, that the A in your framework. finish this off here. Like, tell us the whole framework.
Yeah.
Break that down.
So we say ABC, right? Real simple. Authenticity. Then we jump into belief. So what do you believe? And your beliefs are driven by your lived experiences. I don't care what you say or how much you read. Like, at your core, it's about those lived experiences, and how does that shape your decision making as a leader, as a thought partner, as the identities that you wear in whatever spaces you occupy. And then last but not least, what are you committed to? Because if you're not committed, you're not gonna move forward. If you're just showing up, you might get it done, but you're really not gonna make change. And commitment really for me is tied to my spiritual belief of like, you only have a finite amount of time on this earth. What do you want to be committed to, and what do you want to leave that? How do you want to use that time that you have been given with to stored effectively with some purpose?
Too many of us are getting stuck in our dreams, our callings, and career, which is why I wrote this book, Purpose Driven Work. I have over 10 years of experience working as a career development professional, from which is where I write this book. And I've also utilized some biblical principles, but also some career development principles to help us strategically get unstuck in our careers, but also to help us to align purpose in the work that we do. Check it out. You guys can order the book on Amazon or visit my website for a signed copy. Be blessed.
That's so good. I love that, man. So when you think about ABCs, I really love framework, and that's a really good alliteration framework where authenticity, belief, and commitment, like no matter if you're talking about, we're talking not just in the corporate space, we're talking about individuals, personal wellness, personal leadership journey. I think like I see you as a thought leader, not just from your past experience, but what God has put inside of you to really operationalize. So I really appreciate you sharing it. And I want to encourage you to continue to do that, because I think what I've realized, like my journey as maybe a professional, is I've realized hip hop has been one of the biggest tools, and it's because of language. It's because like I was able to see myself look through the same artists that look like me, come from places like where I'm from, but they give me language to kind of think critically. And I don't think people understand how important that is, right? So I'm just trying to encourage you, man, because I think there's so much that you've blessed me with, but there's so much that other people need to be blessed with. And it's also to anybody that's consuming this content. One of my friends, his name is Fat Lee, he says, it's important for you to dream so that other people can dream. And so I think that those of us that are out there, like, we get stuck because of like self-doubt, fear, whatever it might be. And so you using that creative like alliteration is a framework that's digestible to whoever consumes it. But Lerone, I appreciate you, big dog. We're gonna do this more often, man. Have a blessed
Foot on his leg, I'm coming in high, I'm coming in quick, got what I got, I'm so content, he calling me big, running up chicks, running up, loving that flex, been on that marathon nail, I run at my pace, they loving the spread, foot on his neck.